to our live today. It is March 14th, Saturday. I hope you'll come and join us and do some Q&A chit chat. I've got a bunch of questions that everyone posted, so I'm really excited to get into those. Yeah, let's dive in. We have a ton of amazing questions here. So, for those of you who don't know, I'm streaming on YouTube. Might be streaming on Instagram. I keep trying to stream on Instagram, but I'm not sure if we are. So if you're here, let me know if you see us streaming on Instagram. Let me see if this is going to work. I think we are connected, but you all have to let me know. All right. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We've got a whole bunch of questions ready for today's chat and today's Q&A. If you're just jumping on, come and say hello. Tell me in the chat box, where in the world are you joining me from? And what in the world are you eating or drinking as you're keeping yourself nourished? I've got a second HMDS here with me today. Freaking love this stuff. Who likes their heavy metal detox smoothie? It's not only so super powerful for your health, but also so important and helpful for cleansing the liver, cleansing toxic heavy metals, radiation, chemicals out of your body. It is sort of a super food, super drink that we use to protect ourselves with every day. Summer Valentine, you can't see it on Instagram. Yeah, I can't either. So I'm going to keep testing this to see whether it changes. I don't think it has, but it's all good. Maria says, Maria 144, you love the HMDS. Yes, I do too. I do too, very much so. All right. So I have submitted questions, which I will start to answer in a moment. If you have questions for me, definitely reach out in the chat box and share your question. I'll be happy to answer it. Okay. Our first question that I'll pull from our submitted questions. So I'm breastfeeding. Kamalia 144. She says, I'm breastfeeding and my kid developed atopic dermatitis. What should I do? Okay, so atopic dermatitis is really an issue that is rooted in the liver. Just give me a moment, everybody on YouTube. I'm coming onto Instagram. We have started our live stream on Instagram for Q&A. Come join me. So I'm answering a question about atopic dermatitis for a baby. So mom is asking what she should not eat. The first thing I would tell you not to eat are eggs, dairy, gluten, and also it's helpful to avoid grains. Grains are really hard for someone dealing with a liver issue. So if you're breastfeeding your baby, which I think you said you were, then that is something I'd 100% avoid. I would also bring in things like aloe into your diet, mom, because baby can benefit a lot from that and it'll come through your breast milk. And papayas are great, and a little bit of celery juice. I don't know how old your baby is, but if you're not drinking celery juice, I would 100% drink celery juice. And 100% drink celery juice. For sure. So mom can drink it, and then I would also recommend that you give it to the baby because that is very important. All right, our next question. Our next question is from how to heal mild cellulitis. Anything topical or internal, prefer not to use the antibiotics. So for those of you who don't know, Cellulitis is a strep infection, often in the lymphatic system that's right under the skin. So you get swelling and you get a lot of redness. So I would suggest for that, look, if you need antibiotics, you need antibiotics, but you can support yourself further with, I would do golden seal shock therapy that's found in the Brain Saver Protocols book. I would do a vitamin C shock therapy, zinc shock therapy, propolis shock therapy, even bringing in thyme tea and thyme tea shock therapy. I would bring in a lot of tools for supporting the immune system. Shaga, reishi. I would do a lot more herbs like cat's claw, lemon balm, olive leaf, licorice root. If you don't have high blood pressure, I would do all of those. That is very helpful. Okay. Our next question is, Joanna says, hello from Carmel, California. Hi, Joanna. And Monica says, hello from Tenerife, Canary Islands. Been a while since I was able to see you live. Monica, I'm so excited you joined us. Welcome, welcome. You're drinking nettle leaf, lemon balm, and licorice root tea. That sounds delicious. Elizabeth from Michigan is drinking her liver rescue smoothie, and she's on day 4 of the 369. That's great. Kathy Loso says, I asked you a question on YouTube. Can you please tell me? I have one pupil bigger than the other. They had me in the hospital and ran all these tests. They don't know why, and they're sending me to a neuro-ophthalmologist. What I'll say is that when you have trouble with your neurological system, which means the nerves aren't working quite right, which is why one pupil is bigger than the other, something's awry there, that's often to do with viruses that might be attacking those nerves that cause the nerves not to work quite right. If you're just joining us, pop in a question. I see so many more people here on the live stream. Pop in a question. Any recommendations for a torn paw pad on my dog? Well, keep it protected, Natalie Pfeiffer. Keep it protected. Bring in vitamin C to help with healing and the dog's immune system, right? You want to bring in, I think you can do, you should look this up. So I'm going to caveat this by saying look it up, but I have recommended, looked up websites where you can find what animals are able to take and not take. So for that, I would look up a cat's claw, golden seal. I think they can take those things, but I'm not sure. I'm not an expert when it comes to animals, so check that out. And I would also do a little bit of, if your dog can do aloe, put aloe on it topically. That will help with the wound healing. But basically just keep it well protected. All right, so Sunil Kumar Varma says, how to heal a left leg that is partially paralyzed. In this case, I would be doing a lot of nervous system support because the nerves are affected. And so it's often probably there's a viral load in there as well. Like with, I'm not sure because I'm not speaking to you and I don't know your history, whether it's shingles or Epstein-Barr or one of these herpetic viruses that could impact the central nervous system. So you want to bring in the antivirals. That's very important. So bringing in like B12, zinc, micro-C, lysine, cat's claw, lemon balm, licorice root. That's the core 7. I talk about the core 7 a lot. And then bringing in curcumin, MSM, magnesium glycinate, and things like that can be very helpful for nerve healing. Propolis is very helpful for nerve healing. I would also bring in B12, B complex, 5-MTHF, EPA, DHA, things of that nature to help with healing of your neurological system. After I had a spider bite in like a few years ago, my arm became paralyzed. So I was in excruciating pain and it just wouldn't move. And so I understand what paralysis is like. It's really tough to deal with. So you have to work very hard on the protocols. It takes a lot of work. You have to keep your diet clean. So cut out eggs, dairy, gluten, corn, soy, canola. If you're having any of these troublemaker foods, you got to get them out, Sunil, right? Then you've got to bring in celery juice. You've got to bring in heavy metal detox smoothie. If you don't know what that is, DM me and I'll send you the links for it. These are very, very important, essential basics for the structure of healing chronic illness. All right. Natalie says, do you know of any wellness retreats to go on? There's actually a woman in Mexico. Her name is Karen Lateef. So if you have a question about her retreats, message me and I'll definitely send you the information about her. Milena Ivanova, hello. 2 years on to heal EBV in the reproductive system. 2 days ago, ultrasound found a fibroid. Any suggestions? What are the most important tools to help heal a fibroid? So fibroids are caused by Epstein-Barr. You can have 2 different kinds of fibroids. One kind is produced by Epstein-Barr. The other kind often has a strep component to it as well. So it can be either one of those, strep or Epstein-Barr, as well as toxic heavy metals. So he says in one of the books, he says that this happens because these viruses are feeding on toxic hormones and even Streptococcus can feed on the toxic hormones that enter the body from outside sources like a birth control pill or, plastics, dioxins that have those, toxic estrogens in them, as well as toxic heavy metals. So the healthy cells become poisoned and injured and they mutate. And the injured cells fight to stay alive by forming groups, which is what the fibroid is, and eventually solidify them into a fibroid. So often in a fibroid, you have blood vessels that stem out of them that will absorb nutrients. If you're eating eggs, milk, cheese, things like that, then it will absorb those. And if the condition becomes a lot worse if you have fat or high protein in your diet. But you just said that you've been doing for 2 years. So if that's the case and you've been doing for 2 years, then maybe your diet is cleaner than most people's. In that case, I would you want to bring in a lot of the core 7, what I just mentioned. So B12, zinc, micro C, lysine, cat's claw, lemon balm, licorice root. Those are all really critical to bring in. And then I would bring in ALA. I would bring in some ashwagandha. I would bring in shaga, really important when you have a growth in the body. Shaga is really important. I would bring in D-mannose. I would bring in ALA. I would bring in hibiscus tea. Iodine, very important for this condition. I would bring in nettle leaf, is critical for all conditions related to the reproductive system. Oil of oregano, raspberry leaf tea. You can combine that with nettle leaf tea, and lots of curcumin, and even turmeric ginger shots and things like that can be very, very helpful. So if you have a fibroid, that is what I would start to focus your protocols on so that you can continue healing. So Deborah says, I have a birch tree allergy. I am working on it by cleansing my liver, eliminating no foods. Can I still use shaga? Yeah, absolutely. It's not the same as a birch tree allergy, but if you've never tried shaga before, I would test it. to see if just a little bit, like a tiny kind of pinch of it, and see if you're okay. Can you use the cilantro tincture in the HMDS? I wouldn't put it in the HMDS. I would have it separately after or before the HMDS. Help for skin cancer on face and scalp. So what you want to do is the core 7. If you have any type of C word issue, then you need to bring in a lot more supplementation. I know a lot of people don't want to think about that because it costs more money, but really it's so important, right? You need a lot more support. So I would bring in core 7 to start with: B12, zinc, micro C, lysine, cat's gall, lemon balm, licorice root, and then a lot more curcumin, a lot more propolis golden seal, a lot more iodine, a lot more melatonin, a lot more glutathione, right? All these tools will help, plus you want to do a lot more cleansing. So if you're wanting to heal C word, then do a lot more raw foods, a lot more juices, a lot more smoothies, a lot more greens, more broccoli, all those kinds of foods. Cut out the fats, cut out anything unproductive. I don't know you and what your diet is like, so this is where I'd start. Our next question was about kidney disease. And if you're dealing with kidney disease, then you really, girl like a pearl 5. You are dealing with a lot of it's a more difficult condition to heal, but it can be done. I don't know what kind of kidney disease you're having. Are you having a drop in, like, some people get Crohn's in the kidney, some people get, proteinuria. They start to spill out protein into their urine. Some people start to drop their salts, like potassium, sodium, start to go out of whack. Sometimes their GFR, glomerular filtration rate, goes off. So you have to know, like, what kind of kidney disease you're having. But generally speaking, kidney disease is caused by HHV6 or really aggressive Epstein-Barr's. And you want to bring in the core 7, what I just explained to the person with the C word. Really, you want to do more of those. You want to bring in cleanses, lots more cleanses. You also need Oregon grapefruit. So in addition to everything that I shared, these would be important to bring in as well. Okay, so next question is, what are your thoughts regarding somatic body work to restore the nervous system integration into the body? So I have done a lot of somatic body work, and it can be really helpful for some things. But here's the thing: if your body is affected by pathogens and poisons, then nothing is going to get them out except doing the medical medium tools to get them out. Meanwhile, as you're affected by those pathogens and poisons, and you might be having emotional issues going on in your life aside from the pathogens and poisons, then somatic healing can be so supportive as you're going through a healing journey, but it's not the complete answer. You need to actually do a lot more tools with cleansing and healing and herbs that you need to knock out these pathogens so that you can actually do so much better. All right, our next question is, I have a bump on my forehead, which is extra bone growth. Doctors cannot explain why I'm growing this. So extra bone growth can happen because you've been exposed to radiation, or extra bone growth is viral. So either way, you have to cleanse and you have to use an antiviral protocol. You could also have heavy metals that are at play here. So Sunil, you said that you had a stroke and that's how you became paralyzed. Okay, so if that's the case, you became paralyzed because of a stroke. Still, the nervous system support is so important, but also so is the support for thinning the blood. You're probably on a blood thinner. You have to use foods and lower your fats so that your body can naturally get thinner blood, and that will help in many ways to transport nutrients to where they need to be, et cetera, et cetera. Agitated says crowns, veneers, or a bridge. Depends on your issue. I don't really know. Can't tell. I could say, oh no, don't do a crown, do a bridge. But a dentist looking at your mouth could say, there's no way a bridge would work. But I don't know that. So each has pros and cons. So sometimes a crown is appropriate. Sometimes a bridge is appropriate. Veneers can be appropriate at times. You want to avoid implants as much as humanly possible. If you cannot avoid them, then of course you have to get an implant. That's fine. You get an implant. You take care of your body the way you need to. But if you can avoid an implant, that is preferable, right? Okay, so our next question is from Kate, and she says, my daughter's being awake. What are the possible causes? I ran out of space. My daughter gets worried about one thing or another, which keeps her up at night, and she's just started puberty. So she could be having a bout of anxiety, Kate. And in this case with anxiety, I would suggest that she get some support. Her adrenals are probably getting out of whack. If you're interested in knowing about your adrenals and supporting your daughter, there's a QR code for the Adrenal Reset program in the top corner of the screen. Do you all see that? Just click on that and you will get support for your adrenals. Adrenal support is so important when you're healing anything. You have to keep your adrenals in good shape so that you can continue with the healing that you're trying to do. But your daughter being awake at night and having anxiety is probably dealing with some adrenaline and worry, and that is keeping her up. And then when she's not sleeping that well at night, she's also probably awake more and not getting enough rest. So her adrenals are weaker the next day because of that. So puberty, let's talk about puberty. Puberty brings on a lot of immune weakness. Why? Because the changes of hormones weaken the immune system, and that's why we see, puberty acne or puberty issues or anxiety that shows up for people around puberty. Yeah, it's a real thing because I think a lot of parents maybe don't realize what happens to people when puberty starts. So because there's a drop in the immune system for an extended period of time, these deeper underlying issues can pop up to the surface. So, what your daughter's dealing with, anxiety, that's probably related to that. And I would increase her lemon balm, increase some of the core 7, so B12, zinc, micro C, lysine, cat's skull, lemon balm, licorice root, but increase her lemon balm the most so she gets support. And then if she's not sleeping and she's staying awake, I would 100% start her on a little GABA, a little melatonin, a little magnesium glycinate at night to help her get into a deeper sleep so that she doesn't stay up. Sunil says, past life karma. Past life karma has nothing to do with your health. Your health is not struggling in this lifetime because you have past life trauma or past life karma. All right, our next question is from Puffiness from Pernille. Pernilla says, puffiness under my eyes like bags with water. Strictly no salt or fats, lots of supplements. Could this be because I'm pushing my cleansing too hard? Nope, it's got nothing to do with that. It's got to do with your liver or not. Your liver's backed up, right? Liver's backed up. So you're doing no salt, no fat, but are you cleansing? Are you doing any of the medical medium cleanses, the 369 cleanses? That's what's going to help actually release and give liver some space so it can release this puffiness and lymphatic waste that is collecting in your eyes. Sunil, you want to talk to me? Please contact scheduling@muneezaahmed.com. You can reach out to scheduling@muneezaahmed.com. I'll put that in the chat box for you. Okay. Rena Robbins says, Muneeza, you look fantastic. Thank you. That's very kind. I think it's years of cleansing that help that, honestly. It's nothing else. Probably look pretty poorly otherwise. Okay, so how do duck feet happen? My knees and feet have always felt like they've been externally rotated. That's often because of toxic heavy metals that cause a problem with your development in utero, and so they interfere with that. Next question is, why do females have night sweats before their cycle? Not all females have night sweats before their cycle. I pretty much never had a night sweat before my cycle. I'm sure other women here can also attest to the fact that not everybody has them. Now, if you are having them, it means that when you are going into your cycle, your immune system is dropping. Everyone's does. When you have a cycle, your immune system drops. In females, the immune system drops about 80% when you're having a cycle. So because of that, right before, that will put a strain on your liver. It strains other organs. Your organs aren't meant to be unhealthy. So when they're unhealthy and you have this drop in immune system support, your body literally starts to feel like it's getting run down. Things that it controls normally pop up to the surface, viral symptoms, bacterial symptoms, or even liver symptoms, right? And that's why you have a sweat before your cycle. Andrea Harp, is that you? Does adaptogenic B need to be Adapto B need to be taken in the morning? No, it doesn't have to be. It can be taken at other times as well. Can severe urinary incontinence be healed with MM? Oh my goodness, yes. So many people have healed severe urinary incontinence. So many. So you have to work with removing the toxic foods from your diet. So eggs, dairy, gluten, corn, soy, canola, caffeine, vinegar, natural flavors, artificial flavors, any other food additives that are in processed foods, citric acid, things like that all should be removed from your foods. Your foods need to be cleaner. And then really work with the supplements. You want to bring in more kidney support and bladder support. Asparagus is an amazing support for the bladder. So I would be doing asparagus every single day. I would be doing nettle, asparagus, aloe, cucumber, melons, artichokes, foods like that that will help to repair the tissues of your body, kale, things like that. And then I would bring in more supplements. So I would bring in nettle leaf and nettle leaf tea and red raspberry leaf, and I would bring in a lot of nettle tincture. Grapes, by the way, the person who asked about kidney disease, grapes are the #1 food for kidney disease. So while the bladder is slightly different, you can still bring in some grapes because that will help your kidneys as well. And so bringing in these foods will help to repair the bladder and help you to get stronger and better. So remember, with everything, even with this situation with urinary incontinence, if you're dealing with any level of stress, your body's going to struggle. So if you have not yet checked out the Adrenal Reset program to help you to bring down stress in your body, I'm going to put on this side, it's easier to see. So right here on the top right corner, it's check out the Adrenal Reset program. It starts next week, and it talks about how to help you get even keeled, how to address your overall chronic illness with the impact that you may have had on your adrenals and how to get that better. Because honestly, most of us struggle with some level of adrenaline. Let's do a quick poll here. I know there's like a few people here on the chat. Drop me a number 1 in the comments if you have dealt with an issue with adrenaline, either stress in your life, monetary, relationship, work stress, family stress, health stress, or whether you have dealt with emotional stress of any kind. So drop me a number 1 in the comments and let's see what people are saying about that. Because I'm pretty sure that people are going to be saying that they're dealing with a lot of stress. I know I could say 1. I've dealt with a ton of stress, tons of stress. So if you're dealing with a ton of stress, then and that impacts you when you're dealing with chronic illness too. So you really want to click on that link and learn more about the program because it's life-changing. And I'm not just saying that because I'm trying to, talk to you about my program. I'm saying that because for real, people have told me how much it has changed their lives to learn how adrenaline impacts us on a day-to-day basis. Irina, I thought I answered your question yesterday. Was it yesterday? The day before. Why do I get nauseous sometimes while on a cleanse, even puking? So if you haven't listened to my live, I think you posted this for Thursday. I've already answered it. I promise. And I think maybe you asked it in membership as well. I thought I answered it there too. So maybe you're missing the answers, but I hope you'll go listen and go find your answers. Okay, our next question is from Galina Milkova. Hi, Galina. Nice to see you here. I want to stop thyroid hormones. I'm 9 months on Any tips? I would get the thyroid healing book and read in there how to wean off your medication in conjunction with your doctor, right? So it's really, really important for you to check that out and find the right information that you need to keep healing. It could take you a year to 3 years to come off of it. I wouldn't go faster than that, especially I don't know how long you've been on the meds. If you've been on the meds only like 3 months, then you can come off of it faster, obviously. But if you've been on the meds for 20, 30 years, it's going to take you 1 to 2 years to come off of it. The thing you don't want to do is to do this quickly. You have to go very, very slow. For Mary, not sure where Mary is. Recommendations for highly adrenalized sensitive nerves after 25 years of daily HRT and injections and chronic trauma. Stopped both a few years ago. Long time strict, salt-free, fat-free, 1.5 years of mono cleansing. Yeah, not sure who that's for because I didn't see any comments from Mary. Okay. Okay, our next question is, I don't have enough iron. How to bring it in according to Well, in that case, first of all, you should know that Epstein-Barr eats your iron, right? So if Epstein-Barr is a problem, then you should be bringing in more antivirals, more support to support your nervous system so that viruses can be killed off. So, you need the core 7. So B12 zinc, micro C lysine, cat skull, lemon balm, licorice root. B12, most important supplement ever. Liquid zinc, next most important supplement ever. You need these 2. If you're not on these 2, how many of you are not taking these 2 supplements? They stay by my desk because I take them multiple times in a day. B12 zinc, start with those, and then add in the others. And then, of course, nettle leaf, red raspberry leaf in tea form will build iron reserves. Spirulina, barley grass juice powder will build iron reserves. You can do Gaia Herbs Plant Force Liquid Iron Supplement. That's a clean plant-based one. And then a lot more leafy greens. They will all help, but you have to get the viral load down so that EBV stops eating your iron. When it stops eating your iron, then you can bring the iron levels up more easily. How to get rid of vaginosis. It seems to get better on golden seal. When I stopped, it comes back. It's because herb nerd 73. Are you really a herb nerd? Because I'm a herb nerd too. So when you stop, the golden seal comes back, because golden seal is not the only thing you need for vaginosis. You need the core 7. You need B12, zinc, micro, C lysine, cat's gall, lemon balm, licorice root. You need golden seal. You need curcumin. You need lomatium, eyebright, because vaginosis is caused by strep. Oil of oregano, right? You need turmeric, ginger, garlic shots. You need mold exposure shots because it also fights strep. You need aloe. You need all these things. And if you do these for a few months, you should find some better support for that. Okay. Next question. If you are menopausal, do you recommend living silica? Why? Well, I recommend silica for anyone aging because we lose silica as we age. People think you lose collagen, but you lose silica, actually. You get silica back in, you build collagen. So I 100% recommend that for hair, skin, nails, bones, teeth, all of it. Stress is a huge factor for me. What is best? Working on mind-body regulation as well. Well, I couldn't recommend more to do my adrenal reset program, which starts next week. We've had so many people join already. It's going to be a fantastic community. I brought this program back after 6 years. We will talk about becoming even keel. Like, even some people, some people's adrenals are so weak they cannot handle even a little bit of excitement, good stuff, right? So we talk about exercise. We talk about, we talk about your relationship with sex and intimacy and, how much you can handle that, and exercise, and all of those things get talked about. It's so important to understand, discuss, and understand how your body responds to all kinds of stress. And if stress is a huge factor, then I'll teach you techniques on how to bring stress levels down in your body. It's possible to do. There's so many supplements that support that. There's so many foods that support that, and lifestyle changes as well. You're saying that, you've been doing the morning cleanse for 6 years. So what else you should add? I would definitely start thinking about adding an adrenal healing snacks. If you haven't done adrenal healing snacks by now, I would highly recommend that you do them. It can be a game changer. Adrenal healing snacks can change the game. So if you need to know more about them, I'm just going to share with all of you, like, tap on this QR code right here. It's really helpful, really important to know more about how to protect your adrenals. Anthony has said that adrenals are sort of like our number one, if like the number one thing to protect, right? You've got to protect your adrenals like they protect gold at Fort Knox. Although, the joke now is that there's nothing there. So anyway, I will just say they protect the adrenals like they protect gold at Fort Knox. That's really, 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 really important. So if you're not doing that, you want to learn how to do that more, here's the QR code. You can scan it on your phone, tap on it, and it should open up. All right, next question is, can I take 5-MTHF and B complex together? Yeah, you can. It's not a problem. Do we need to wear sunscreen in Australia and other high UV countries? If you're in a high UV country, then I would 100% wear some. What causes adrenaline dumps? So Summer Valentine, when you're talking about adrenaline dumps, something is driving up your viral load all of a sudden, which feels like a dump. It could be because of weakened adrenals, which means when your adrenals are weak, they're not performing steadily throughout the day, which means that one revs up when the other's really weak. So if one becomes really weak, the other will rev up, but over rev sometimes. Then another issue could be that you have a high viral load, and that every time or certain times of the day when the viral load really revs up, and you start to feel like your heart's racing, you get agitated all of a sudden, your breathing changes, you get hot, and your liver is either dumping out, your liver's getting hot, but also your liver could be getting hot because you suddenly start to dump out a lot of adrenaline into your system, which is a response to your viral load. When it's happening, you're not doing anything, you're just sitting there, and suddenly it's like boom, 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 right? Anyone ever had that happen to them where they can relate? Hope Light Heal says, you're an inspiration to cleanse. What subs can be combined, what cannot, which not around the same time. I like to keep my B12 and zinc separated from other things, only because, like, if you look at the shock therapies, right? All the shock therapies, Anthony says, have them 15 minutes apart from anything else. Why do you do that? It increases the potency and efficacy of the supplement. So I like to take my B12 and zinc separately, and everything else I mix together when I'm doing regular stuff, when I'm healing, if I've got a cold or a flu, and then I'll take them separately as well, just because they have more impact. What supplements can you take while you're cleansing? You can pretty much take all of them. I just wouldn't do EPA DHA during the daytime. I'd save it for the evening because it has a little bit of that sunflower oil in it, or the vitamin D. But yeah, definitely you can do them. Is there any way to feed the duck feet then? Are you saying that you are point like pigeon-toed, like you walk this way? There are ways to correct that. Body work is part of it. And then a lot more support for you have to cleanse to get the metals out. So if you're cleansing, that's a good start. But I would bring in a lot more silica, a lot more aloe, a lot more MSM, nettle, magnesium, curcumin, things that actually build the structure of your body. I do a lot more of that while you're trying to correct the issue and cleanse. Because as you cleanse, you can get rid of the poisons, and then you get to kind of shift and reset a little bit. But yes, it can be corrected. Can stress cause your cycle to be delayed or get it twice in a month? And your Poclatus, 100% correct. Christina Wakely, I love you too. I'm so glad you're here. What about thyroid and hormones? What about them? What's your question, Deborah? What's your question? Let me know what your question is, Deborah. What do you want to know exactly about thyroid and hormones? Are you asking about taking hormones or thyroid hormones, or be more specific, please? All right. Can I drink lemon water with honey, walk my dogs, then make my celery juice? You could, but it depends on the strength of your adrenals and how well your blood sugar holds up. So that matters. Most of the time, if you're going for a half an hour walk, lemon honey water isn't enough calories to sustain a workout first thing in the morning. How do you recognize underlying viral and bacterial infections? Oh my gosh. How much time do you have? Because that's a huge question, and it would take days to answer. So when you start, if you ask me specifically for you, for specific symptoms, I can help you. But when you ask such a general question, it's very hard to know where to start. I don't know where to address it. Like, for example, you'll always have symptoms. There's always going to be something that will show up, and you'll need to address that if you're not feeling well. But anything to do with your nerves, anything, pain, vibration, numbness, tingling, ants crawling under the skin, all of those are sort of viral, 100%. Bacterial infections tend to be localized more, but they're just different. How do you recognize them? There's so many ways. So many ways. Can you do a 369 or being fat-free while breastfeeding? You can do a 369 while breastfeeding, for sure. I just wouldn't remain that way the whole time. When can you start giving baby celery juice, HMDS, zinc, and B12 in small dosages? It depends on what your baby's going through, and it depends on the baby's overall health. So I would have to assess that before giving a sort of open instruction on it. But having said that, in the celery juice book, Medical Medium says babies can start at 6 months, starting with a teaspoon. Kobili Ahmadi says how to heal sores from shingles viruses and kill the virus brought on by the flu. So sores by the shingles virus, you have to do a shingles protocol and topically add propolis and zinc on the sores. They help to heal the sores topically. And then shingles is a protocol. Of course, Core 7 goes into it, but for shingles, Total Immune Blend, propolis, and golden seal are very important. ALA, magnesium glycinate, California poppy, and curcumin, all are very, very important for shingles. Can you explain what causes, does root canal therapy cause chronic diseases? Not even a little bit. Yeah, not even a little bit. I think we get this idea that we can have something going on in our mouth and it's causing all these other issues. But yeah, no, not even a little bit. So, what is the cause of a molar pregnancy? Where, if you don't know what a molar pregnancy is, it's where there's a non-cancerous tumor that can develop in the uterus. Maybe they say because of an abnormally sized egg, or placental tissue grows into like grape-like cysts rather than a healthy fetus. It can cause bleeding, high HCG levels, which is a human chorionic gonadotrophic hormone, which is the sign that you're pregnant. Severe nausea, and it requires you sort of removing getting rid of the pregnancy ASAP, because that's not desirable. So this can happen for several reasons. It can happen because your toxins and pathogens play the biggest role in this. So that's what is at the root of a molar pregnancy. It's a very difficult thing to go through, and emotionally can be quite hard. Can I have monolaurin in the morning? Sure, you can, but it's better to take it after 12 o'clock. What can help with heat sensitivity that causes heart palpitations? I would do a lot of celery juice, cucumber juice, chaga reishi tea. That makes a big difference. Okay, our next question is from, would you buy a frozen bag of artichoke hearts that come from a facility that processes soy and gluten? I would. If it doesn't contain soy or gluten in the actual bag, then yeah, I would. But if you are a celiac patient, then I wouldn't. Because if you're that sensitive to even a cross-contamination, you can end up with symptoms, then I wouldn't do that. Hey, Melanie Robitaille. So nice to see you too. I use all the tools you shared in your practitioner programs. I have a tricky question. A client has fleas on their cats. Is there an MM-friendly solution for that? You do get more, you do get some healthier solutions that are non-toxic. So I don't recall one right off the top of my head, but there are ones that I have seen online that are really helpful. But if you're asking, has MM said anything specifically about fleas on a cat? Not to my knowledge. Not to my knowledge. Yeah, it's all good questions. Can stress make you bloated? 100% correct. This is written about in the Liver Rescue book. Anthony writes about it in Liver Rescue. He writes that when you have a lot of stress, high adrenaline will weaken hydrochloric acid, and that's one of the biggest reasons why people bloat. When weak hydrochloric acid, weak liver, weak bile, right? For sure. Saray Salcido. She's been on 1 year full MM, 2369 cleanses, fat-free plus supplements, constant pressure in my head, especially behind my nose, as though I have energy trapped in my head. Lost a sense of smell 10 years ago. Have 2 dental implants in my front teeth. Dentist says everything is okay. Could it be related? Had mono as a kid and always had dark circles. Okay. It could be that you have some swelling back there, either in a nerve or in the tissue, that's causing you to feel pressure. And could it be related to the dental implant is a possibility for sure. Whether it is 100% or not, I can't say without doing a consult, but sure, it's a possibility. Could it be related? It could. Irina says, I thought I listened to the whole live, but I'll go find it. I did say in there that sometimes if you are cleansing and your gut and your vagus nerve is sensitive, right? If you're having puking or nausea happen and your vagus nerve is sensitive, then you want to take a lot more lemon balm and ginger to help calm that down. And it's not happening because you're cleansing too much. It's just happening because your vagus nerve is sensitive. Where can I find fresh hot peppers at this time of the year? I've tried searching online and locally, and no ripe organic peppers available yet. I'm finding ripe organic peppers in my hot peppers in my local stores. So you just have to ask them if they can order it from a location that is actually growing them, either overseas or even locally in the US. I do think that it's important to bring in other options, like where can you get them from? There are lots of farms in the world that are actually growing hot peppers. So, yeah. Thoughts on HRT? Not a fan. Not a fan, guys. I mean, okay, do you know the issues with birth control, right? Have you watched the movie The Business of Birth Control? Ricky Lake produced it. The Business of Birth Control talks about how toxic these hormones are. HRT is the same kind of hormones. They're all artificial hormones. They're not bioidentical hormones. Some people offer you bioidentical hormones, but actually, it's so toxic. Well, why are you wanting to put something in your body that is foreign to your body? You know, the body doesn't recognize it. It's toxic. And toxic, you know, birth control pills, one of their side effects is the big C, right? Because so much toxic estrogen feeds the big C. In fact, if you consider all the C that happens around this area for women, many of them are estrogen based. And it's not your body. They'll tell you that it's your body's own natural estrogen that causes the problem, but it's not. That's not the problem. It's toxic estrogens, foreign estrogens, xenoestrogens. Ever heard that word? Franco-estrogens, like, you know, modified estrogens. There's so many ways that estrogens get modified that are toxic. Those can all contribute, and that's a problem. So, no, this is a no. There are many natural ways to support your health, many natural ways to support your hormonal changes that won't give you a side effect of something you really don't want, ever. Does the fascia become stiff due to viruses, toxins, pathogens, metals, or is it a lack of movement due to sickness? It's a combination of both, Karen. It's a combination of both. Andrea Placatus says, if you haven't exercised in 10 years except for daily small walks, is it okay to start gentle rebounding? Yes, it is. Any suggestions for energy? Susie, this program, all we're talking about is how to increase your energy right here. Adrenal healing snacks is the first thing I would suggest to you. If you have something on your adrenaline gland, is it a growth? Have you had it checked? Why does high altitude affect some more than others? Because some people are healthier than others. Some people have thinner blood than others. If you have thick blood, you're going to really struggle in high altitudes. If you have a sluggish liver, you're going to struggle in high altitudes. What do you do? What do you recommend if you get exposed to things like medicated creams in the home and have no control of and no air purifier? Medicated creams, like on your skin, you get exposed on your skin, or you get exposed by the mouth. How are you getting exposed to them? Why are some of us so sensitive to supplements? So if you're sensitive to supplements, you're not just sensitive to supplements. You're going to be sensitive to a whole bunch of other things too. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about why you're sensitive, not just to supplements, but to other things too. And you become sensitive because the liver becomes sluggish and weak, and you have neurological. It's a neurological condition, actually. So it's a weak liver and a weak nervous system. They will cause you to become sensitive. And partly it's because the liver cannot process things the right way. That's part of the sensitivity. And part of it is that the nerves are so weak that even good things can be too much. So you have to just go slow. Right? Amber Stone, hello. How are you, honey? If I'm going to an event tonight and have to wear makeup because of my skin, any tips to help it clear quickly if it reacts to literally everything? Oh, goodness. Aloe on the skin, really helpful. Also, you know what? I had a makeover done yesterday, and the lady was asking me, because I brought all my own stuff, but then she was like, oh, but I need to clean your face before I start. And do you have a cleanser? I said, no, I didn't bring a cleanser because I don't pretty much use one. And she said, no, but I have to get everything off before I put anything new on it. So I was digging around in my bag. And of course, I carry my emergency kit with me, which has my silver gel in it. So I put out some of that silver gel and clean my face with the silver gel. So if you have any reactions or anything, also clean your face with silver gel. I think my face was so smooth and soothed after that. So that's hopefully something you can use as well, Amber. Natalie Pfeiffer says, so much great information. I'm so glad. Hang out here. We'll keep going. All right. So again, coming to the question, what can help with heat sensitivity that causes heart palpitations? Reducing heat sensitivity means protecting your nerves. So bringing in more B12, bringing in more EPA, DHA, B complex, 5-MTHF, curcumin, propolis, they all help to protect the nerves from the heat. And if you start to become sensitive, the reason your heart starts to go when you're in the heat and you become sensitive to the heat is you're having a reaction, like your immune system's getting triggered because your nerves cannot handle that. Things that support you with heart palpitations are chaga tea and rose hips tea. They're very helpful for that. And, if you're going to be in the heat, take an ice pack with you. It helps to cool off the nerves as you're dealing with that. My husband is having alopecia barbae. Okay. So how am I going to treat it? All alopecia is viral and adrenal. We will be talking about this in Adrenal Reset. So Lavanya, I know that you're asking about this question. This program will cover everything to do with hair. hair loss, loss of libido, reproductive issues, unable to conceive, infertility, which we will cover in Blossom 2, and we do that in a lot more depth. But, anything to do with weakened adrenals and the issues that come from weakened adrenals, including all types of alopecia, will be covered in our program. And what you can do is you have to start a viral protocol, and you have to start protecting the adrenals and bringing in adrenal snacks. So I know you know about those, Lavanya, so hopefully you'll get that support. Oh, Andrea, you were asking about a question for a friend who's in a different time zone. I so did not get that. I thought you were responding to someone in the chat. So I'm really sorry. I didn't pick up that you were asking for someone else. We should do like an asking for a friend. Ask AF, right? AF should be asking for a friend and then post the question. That's really funny. Sorry, I'll go back to it if you want. How do you deal with severe blood sugar instability and frequent blood sugar drops at night? We'll be dealing with this in Adrenal Reset program. Really going to be talking about this because it's connected to your adrenals. I'm dealing with a lot of stress damage. Oh, like you said, stress is there, and immune issues, and eating every 0.5 to 1 hour during the day. So if you're dealing with this, you really do need to build a glucose reserve, and you need to calm have you done any B12 shock therapy? If you haven't, I would start that. Wildflower 144, as well as some lemon balm shock therapy. Hopefully that will help you. All right, about your friend, Andrea, let me go back to the question because I so did not get you were asking about somebody else. I thought you were responding to someone. So then I didn't read it. I was like, oh, that's a response. It wasn't worded like a question. Okay. So recommendations for highly adrenalized sensitive nerves. You need a lot of cleansing, right? And a lot more B12 support, adapto B support, 5-MTHF, EPA, DHA support, lemon balm, hops tea, lion's mane helps to soothe the nerves, right? She's become allergic to adrenaline. We're going to talk about this in the program too, but your friend, Andrea, would be really helped by the program if you want to check it out. It's going to be, it's a really good program. It helps on a lot of levels for a lot of different issues. So for your friend, start with those things. And also the shots, the brain shots can be so helpful. Adrenal fight or flight shot can be helpful. Nerve shifter can be helpful. Coming back to our regular list of questions. Susie, you're seeing a endocrinologist in a couple of months. Remind me what the issue was. You have something on your adrenal gland. Yes. Good. That's the doctor that you go to for that kind of an issue. And if it's a growth or something, it would also affect how your adrenals can operate if it's on the adrenal gland, but hopefully it won't, but maybe that's what's going on for you. Why do we yawn when we start exercising? I don't. I'm not sure. Most people don't that I'm aware of. It's not normal. Is it okay? I think it's okay. I just don't think it's normal. What do you think about castor oil packs? I think they're quite helpful. So I have a recipe for a castor oil pack on my blog. I'll link it for you. Here we go. Here's the link on my blog to the castor oil pack. Here, Elizabeth, there you go. Hopefully you can use that to help. Okay, our next question is, Susie says, we're blessed to have you and your knowledge. Thank you for sharing your knowledge with us. So happy to share, happy to help. I love helping all of you. Adila says, thank you for your work. You're most welcome. Thanks for hanging out with me. It's really great to have you all here. Greetings from Austria. Why do I react to lemon water on an empty stomach in the morning? ME/CFS symptoms worsen about 10 minutes after drinking it. So I would test it, Sonia. I would, instead of drinking lemon water and noticing that, drink celery juice and see what happens. Drink HMDS and see what happens. You might notice similar things because it's not the food itself, but the action of eating in the morning that starts to kick everything in. But it's not because of the food. It's just your nerves are sensitive. So when your nerves have to work at eating or doing something, they're already so inflamed and tired. That's what happens. But you can't not eat. You've got to eat. But this is a symptom. It's not because of the food necessarily. Does that make sense? How long do you need to follow to reverse type 2 diabetes? I just learned that I've had diabetes for about 5 years since my first pregnancy, and it never went away. I do follow about 80%. So it depends on how bad it is. It depends on the state of your liver. So I can't really give a time frame, but I mean, I would start to cut down on fat. That would be the number one thing I would do if you're diabetic. What do you use for loose leaf tea to infuse it? Cotton reusable bag or stainless steel? Neither. I have on my Amazon store a list of, I connected there these unbleached paper bags that I use. So they're really helpful, actually. Let me share my Amazon store with you. I'm going to post it right here. And then you can check it out for yourself. Here you go. I also have a glass infuser, which works really well. So I don't use any of the regular ones that most other people use. You're welcome, Andrea. Tell her I said hello. Ann Hall says, is it possible to heal very low HCl, weak bile, and liver? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I've helped so many people do that. I've done MM since 2015, since 2022, celery juice twice a day, every day, fat-free cucumber juice or fennel juice every day, simple meals, mostly bananas, potatoes, and leafy greens in the evening, loads of Rimergy subs, but I get very bloated. Also have EBV stage 4, have healed a lot, but have strong flare-ups, which means that your viral load is still pretty high, right? So I would get very focused on a protocol to reduce the viral load. And then if you're getting very bloated, I would focus on tools to bring up. Have you done the mono eating cleanse? I know you said that you've done mostly bananas, potatoes, and leafy greens, and you're done celery juice twice a day. Have you done aloe shock therapy? Have you brought in the nerve gut acid stabilizer shot, alternating between cilantro and parsley shots, right? So there are many more tools that you can use, including kiwis, red onions, leafy greens are really helpful for bloating also. Or if you're dealing with a lot of stress while you're dealing with all these conditions, that could be worsening it. And so if you're called to it, check out the program, Adrenal Reset Program. We'll be talking about all things stress in that program. I answered that question already. I'm having spinach soup for the second day ever. Why is my heart beating a little faster after it? Hard to say. Not sure what else is going on that could be causing that, but just stay with it. It's not a cause for panic, right? Angie says, I have a root canal with an implant that needs to be cleaned out and changed, and other teeth around it need to match somehow, so they are weak and chipped. So no more implants. Well, if you can avoid it, I would. It's not the top choice. Choose something else and talk to your doctor about what it is that you choose, or why you're choosing that. What herbs or foods can I take for seborrheic dermatitis? Seborrheic dermatitis is not viral. It's all to do with the liver. So with seborrheic dermatitis, you have to clean up the liver. You have to do more cleanses, 3-6-9 cleanses, double celery juice maybe, bring in more aloe shock therapy. All those things will help you. Diana Petrascu, thank you for everything. Can ashwagandha or nettle cause your period to come too soon? No, it wouldn't do that. It's normally adrenaline that does that. Say hi to your mom. Hey, what herbs and foods can I take to heal seborrheic dermatitis? I just answered that question. What can you do to get rid of OCD and neurological issues? So this book, do you have this book? Do you have this book right here? Elizabeth, if you don't have this book, you've got to get this book. This is a book that will help you to understand exactly why you have OCD and what is the root cause. So there's multiple root causes of OCD. OCD can be caused by PTSD, if you've had severe PTSD of any kind, or if you've had toxic heavy metals in the brain. And there's two root causes, right? Sometimes you have both. So you could have OCD because of those things. And other neurological issues, there's such a wide range of neuro issues. So you'd have to be more specific about that. But getting in the morning routine like celery juice, heavy metal detox smoothie, all those things can be super helpful for cleaning up your diet and getting rid of metals that will help this issue. Hey guys, please don't repeat your questions multiple times. I mean, I'm seeing them, I'm getting through them. You all post them faster than I can read them, so I'll get to them. You don't have to post 5, 6, 7 times. Megan Wallace says, hi from New Zealand, worms. I just can't get them out of my large intestine. So I would do papaya seeds, apple, cabbage, nori, garlic every day. You can make it like a coleslaw and make it and have that every day. Lots of aloe, but you have to do the protocols to get rid of worms for over 100 days because you have to get over the worm life cycle. Because if you don't, and then you've got to let those eggs die. So you need 90 days to kill the worms and over 10 more days to kill the eggs. So you have to keep going. I don't know if you've done it for that long. I would safely, if I had worms, I would be doing that for like at least 4 or 5 months just to be in the clear. Okay. Are dental sealants safe for kids? They'll tell you they are. Everything in dentistry has chemicals. So the decision is, if I'm going to put something in my body that's going to be toxic, it better be for a really good reason. So if you think there's a really good reason to put a sealant on your kid's teeth, then do it. But if it's not a good enough reason, then I wouldn't. And if it's not a good enough reason, also you want to look at, is this the only way to get the result that you're seeking? If there's another way, then you can bring in another way, right? Next question. What are your thoughts on DIY herbal tinctures given the dollars? Is it a worthwhile option? So DIY herbal tinctures will never be as strong as what you can buy from Vimergy or Hawaii Farm or any of these, professional places. Their processes that they use concentrate the tinctures in a way that you cannot concentrate at home. So while it's a really good idea, I'm a herbalist. I was trained as a herbalist. I would be the first one to tell you to make your tinctures at home if that was enough to get support for chronic illness. But if it's not enough, my biggest goal is to make sure that you heal. And people have all the tools and the information that they need to heal. And if something isn't going to get you there, wouldn't I want to say it? So I'm saying it. It's not bad. It's clean. It's just not strong enough. So do you trust the NEMS supplements in Europe? Would you recommend them? I don't recommend them, not because I don't trust them, because I just don't know their quality. And I know for a fact that they're not as powerful or potent as Vimergy. There isn't actually anything as powerful and potent as Vimergy. So why do veins burst easily and without physical injury? They can burst easily if your liver is really sluggish. It will weaken it's dirty blood syndrome. It'll weaken the actual vein material, the tissues that make your vein, and they can weaken. And then that's what causes that. Are RA deformation of bones reversible? Have you witnessed this in your practice? I think a deformation is harder to reverse. It can be done, but it's harder. It's not so easy to do. Somebody would have to do it for a really long time to reverse it. I have seen some reversal in my dad. So his fingers used to be a lot more claw-like, and then they've kind of opened up a bit. They're a bit better. He's been doing stuff for almost 13, 14 years. So even though the goal wasn't to reverse the tissue damage, I think everything that he's done has helped that a little bit. What could be the reason for the loss of voice without any prior injuries? It's all neurological. It's a viral injury on the voice box and the nerves here, and maybe the vagus nerve. 10-year-old with a patch of white hair, what could be the reason? All adrenal related. Yes. Could be some poison too, like toxic heavy metal exposure. What causes Chiari malformation and how can it be supported in a child? Lots of very high aggressive viral load and lots and lots and lots and lots of toxic heavy metals. So I would be working on the toxic heavy metal cleanses from the Brain Saver Protocols book. Lymphedema that won't budge for my mom getting worse. Any help? Best to focus on. If it's lymphedema, you've got to clean the liver. It goes right back to the liver. So liver cleanses, cutting out fat, lowering fat, bringing in liver tools like 3 apples a day, hibiscus tea, spinach soup, morning cleanse, things like that will help. So for Chiari malformation, you said, how can it be supported? Like the cleanses are most important, but then also you need a very strong protocol, viral, like supplement protocol too. I stubbed my stubborn fingernail fungus, soaked at night in a solution, can't afford Vimmergy, just a few. It's an inside job to get rid of toenail fungus. It's a weakened immune system that is causing the toenail fungus. So in order to heal that, I would start to focus on improving your immune system. So focus on a lot of vitamin C, focus on a lot of zinc, golden seal, chaga. Maybe if you can only afford a few, do those few, and then take a lot of thyme, sage, oregano, rosemary, which are immune supportive. All of those can also make a big difference. Okay, next question is, what causes sleep hallucinations? I don't know what you mean by sleep hallucinations. You mean like sleepwalking, sleep talking? It's all toxic heavy metals, by the way. What causes adrenal dumps and surges? I think I already answered that question, so go back and listen, but we're covering it in this adrenal reset program, so come and join me there. Wildflower says those adrenals are worth more than gold. You know, Wildflower, I don't know what your name is, but I was bedridden for a year. I had no energy. I couldn't move. I couldn't function. I would give my left arm to be able to function in that moment. If I could, I would. You just can't. You can't understand it unless you've been on Mattress Island or Couch Island. When you've been on Mattress Island and Couch Island, you know the value of being able to get up and move and live your life. It's worth a lot. It's worth a heck of a lot. Seeing things between sleep and waking, that's sleep hallucination. Okay. If that's happening, then could be a little bit of psychosis going on. He explains it in this book. It's toxic heavy metal touching solvents in the brain. Yeah. What's the best way to color gray hair? Henna and acacia. Yeah, henna is a really good option if you want to color gray hair. Try henna. It's clean and has no toxic heavy metals in it, especially if it's a clean organic formula. Bleeding nose in the morning. Bleeding nose in the morning is caused by strep. Yeah. Wildflower, I would love for you to join the Adrenal Reset program. If you've not checked it out, guys, there's a QR code here. Tap on it and open the link so you can see it. I'll put the link into the chat box as well. So everyone can tap on it and click on it. Here's the link. Gina St. Jean says Mattress Island is horrible. It's horrible. It's horrible. It impacts you mentally. It impacts your depression. It impacts y'all. It impacts your whole life. Can't live your life when you're there. Can I swap out spinach smoothie for the spinach soup? Is getting really old. Like, I'm not sure what you want to put in it. Maybe why don't you swap out the tomatoes and put in mango and do it that way? That's an allowed substitution. Christina Wakely says, thank you, Muneeza, for all of us, sending you love and light, family, light, 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 angels of healing, please help. Thank you. That's so, so kind. The prayers mean everything, honestly. MM saved me from Mattress Island 9 years ago. I'm so glad agitated. That's why we love Emma, because nothing else would be able to get you there. I know, because I've tried everything. I know you have too, probably. Is it okay to have honey if you have blood sugar issues, like 1 tablespoon a day? Many people do. You just want to make sure you have a lot of mineral salts in your diet so that it balances it out. What is your take on the peptide talk? Taking retatrutide, dangerous side effects? I'll tell you something. Anything that goes on in the main media, GLP-1, Ozempic, peptides, stay away from lectins. If you hear it in mainstream media, there's an agenda and money behind it. So do you trust it? I don't. How many of you trust what you see in mainstream health media? Like, there's us and then there's mainstream health, right? So I wish we would become mainstream health. We are not there yet, but we need to become mainstream health. Mainstream health, this is what works. So when people ask me about peptides or, things of that nature, I just tend to stay away. Methylene blue, I stay away. I've stayed away from stuff like that because I've realized long ago, if there's a trend, it's actually not designed to help you. Why? Because there's an agenda to take you away from the truth. There's an agenda to make money off you, right? So they play on your feelings and emotions, and they play on your need for a certain result. Like, I was talking to somebody yesterday and they said to me, oh, I've taken GLP-1 for a year now and I've lost 50 pounds and I'm so healthy and I've lost all this weight. And I'm like, yeah, you've lost all this weight, but I don't know if you can say you're healthy. Oh, excuse me. So, I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense to me. So those of you asking about peptides, like, I wouldn't touch them personally. You're asking about dangerous side effects. I don't think they should be listed somewhere. If you're taking something without having a sheet telling you what the side effects are, why are you taking it? I wouldn't touch that. That means they haven't put it in there, or they're hiding it, or they haven't done enough research on it. How to overcome hard depression. Thank you for taking your valuable time to answer our questions. You're welcome. Hard depression. In the Brain Saver book, let me go grab it. There's a section here on depression. And in the depression section, he talks about soul detection, how when you have depression, you have the very powerful soul detection capability. What does that mean? That means that he talks about it here. Powerful soul detection. I know it's back to front, you all, but this is what I'm talking about. So I love being able to reference these books and find answers. Pretty much anything I want, I can find answers in all of the Medical Medium series. A series of like 7-8 books he's written. So powerful soul detection, what that means is that you Your soul has the ability to detect all of the emotions of the people that your Epstein bar has been in. It carries an imprint of the emotions of every person it's been inside. So if there were like 1,000 people it went through before it came to you, and you have soul detection capability because you're soul sensitive, it's because of that you have depression. Does that make sense? Is everybody following what I'm saying? So depression can also be caused by toxic heavy metals. He writes all about it, by deficiencies. And it can also be caused by traumatic loss, traumatic stress, pathogenic presence in the body. The brain can detect all of these things. So if you haven't read this book and the chapter on depression in this book, it will get you out of hard depression. The protocols for depression include doing the morning cleanse with the heavy metal detox smoothie. They include bringing in a whole range of supplements. So you want to start bringing in, and I mean, these are just what I remember from the Brain Saver Protocols book. So I'm going to just say what I remember. So for depression, we really want to focus on getting more glucose into the brain. That's one of the things. Then I would bring in, so you want to bring in lots of spirulina, lots of barley grass juice powder, wild blueberries, wild blueberry juice, heavy metal detox smoothie, even some extractor smoothie can be helpful. Bring in some shots, like Mood Shifter is excellent for depression. The Mood Shifter brain shot that he talks about in this book is really helpful. Burnout stabilizer shot, really helpful. 5-MTHF, ashwagandha, barley grass juice powder, B complex, celery force, nascent iodine, like all of these tools are helpful. Some GABA, some melatonin, magglycinate. These are all brain supports. B12, and of course, celery force is a very, very, very important one. Very important. Okay. Can cooked cilantro remove metals at all? No, not really. Not really. It has to be like raw. Thanks, Muneeza. I'm suddenly experiencing severe bloating after 6 years of following an MM diet. Do you have any advice on this? It could well be because you're dealing with stress. Lovely leafy green. I love that name. You are a lovely leafy green. And speaking of lovely leafy greens, would be actually really helpful for dealing with your bloat. So parsley shots, cilantro shots, lots and lots and lots and lots of leafy greens, upping your greens to like a pound or 2 a day through juicing or through other ways. Aloe shock therapy, those will all get help with the bloat. But if it's adrenals that are causing the bloat, then adrenal reset will help you calm the adrenaline down so that you can heal from that. But I know you're doing a lot of things. And so this is where we like to help people, because a lot of people are doing things for a long time. They go, I'm doing this and I'm doing that. And I'm doing that. I'm doing that. I don't know why this is going wrong. There's a lot we can investigate and try and help you out with that. Elizabeth says, I would put in strawberries, bananas, spinach, and coconut water in substitution. First the spinach soup. Oh, you're talking about what you would put in. I mean, you could if you wanted to. Give it a bit of a break and then come back to it. But I would definitely come back to it, you know? Agitated says it's all BS. All the other mainstream stuff is all BS. Doctor wants me to take methotrexate. I'm petrified, so I'm not taking it. Wants me to take it for my RA. He says if I don't, I'll end up in a wheelchair. Well, my dad took it for 40 years. Thing is, you don't need to take it for 40 years. You could take it for less time. But if it helps to stabilize your pain so you can keep healing, you can eventually come off of it. I've got several clients who have done that. What is the least toxic option for straightening teeth? Are Invisaligner's good? They're actually probably the least toxic option anyway. Can you please tell me about high blood pressure? High blood pressure is like, all right, so if I have a thick smoothie in here, right? It takes a lot of kind of force when I'm sucking it up to pull a heavy smoothie. But if I was drinking water, it would be relatively easy. No pressure, hardly any pressure. So when you have blood pressure, it develops because your blood's too thick. So your heart has to pump harder with more pressure to push it around. So why does your blood become thick? It becomes thick because there's too much fat in your diet. There's too much fat. The blood is thick with fat, right? If you all haven't watched on YouTube Dr. Fan's video, there's an MD with Spirit video that's a really cool video that shows you his he actually took some blood from someone and he spun it, and he shows you what happens on Is Your Blood Toxic? I think this video right here. And I don't know that I can share it with you right now, but if you get to watch it, I'm going to copy the link and post it into our chat. I would watch this because it really makes a huge difference to know. Here's this video by Dr. Fan. And it's phenomenal. Like, you'll watch him in the beginning take someone's blood who has really severe diabetes and spins the blood, and then you see it separate out into its components of fat and regular blood. And when it's mixed with fat, it kind of is light red or pinkish. Pinkish blood is no bueno. Pinkish blood means you got a heck of a lot of fat in your blood. It's really not healthy. So when he separates them out, the blood, which is separated, becomes darker red. So, and you can see the fat sitting on top. That's what people who have high blood pressure, that's what your blood would also look like if spun, right? Because there's just too much fat in the blood, or the blood is dehydrated, or the blood is dirty. So it's really important to keep these things in mind. So if you have high blood pressure, you have to reduce your dietary fat, drink a lot more green juices, smoothies, hydration, water, lemon water, coconut water to help thin out the blood. And then as the blood thins out, your blood pressure will come back to normal. Seaweed Hero, hello. Has it been like years since I've heard from you? How are you doing? It's been a minute. Shivanji Rana says, gums bleeding every morning while brushing following MM morning cleanse since 2 years. Have done a few 369s. What else can I do? What is causing it? Well, if your gums are bleeding every morning, you could have weak tissue there or sensitive nerves. Have you applied any of the Living Libations tools like Living Libations hydroxyapatite or ozonated gum gel, Happy Gum Drops? I would try some of those products on your gums and see what happens. You should improve with using some of those tools. Why do my symptoms worsen during detox? I do all. I have ME/CFS. Well, it could be that ME/CFS patients are very sensitive to adrenaline. So if you're pushing anything that will push more adrenaline in your body, this is why I talk about in Adrenal Reset. Check out the program if you haven't already. Tap the QR code and see what it's all about. Do less rather than more. Do less. Doing less is important because you will heal more gently. The more gentle you go, the more easily you will heal. And that's actually the key to healing. Adela Marcia says, I'm on the potato mono cleanse and on day 63. I want to switch to a 28-day cleanse for deep RA healing. I'm on a very low budget. I don't know what to focus on. Wyman's wild blueberry juice or HMDS. I would say HMDS if you're going to do it. Switch to the 28-day cleanse. That's fine. but focus on HMDS. That's more important than just the wild blueberry juice by itself. Edith says, being on Mattress Island right now, I can totally attest to what Muneeza says. It's great to know there are others who understand that struggle. I understand it so well. I didn't want to understand it. I understand it because I was forced to understand it. But it chokes me up still. It is not a joke what we've been through, you know? Or what we're going through. Edith, I feel for you. Elizabeth says the extraction smoothie is not good at all. I would drink it more often, but it's not just very good. So what some of my clients do is take that mustard seed powder and they encapsulate it into capsules and they swallow it with it rather than putting it in the smoothie. That way they can handle the taste and they can have the extractor more often. Do you get mineral salts from hydroponic lettuces, says Tina Bay? Yeah, you do. You do. Barbara says, adding a little bit of cayenne powder to the lemon honey water and thin the blood if one has thick blood. Yeah, I mean, cayenne can help. It can. But I wouldn't do it to your morning lemon water. I would add it to your meals and your food. Yeah, I would add it to your meals if I wouldn't add it to morning lemon water. Nat W8161 says, I get up a few times per night. Any idea why? Thank you, Angel. You get up at night because there are 8 reasons why we can wake up at night, either because of toxic heavy metals, pathogens, liver being sick, having sleep apnea of some kind, obstructive or non-obstructive. There's many reasons why people wake up. So you have to sort of analyze and figure out why you're waking up. But often the first 3, liver, adrenals, liver, pathogens, toxic heavy metals, and adrenals is why people wake up at night. Like your liver spasms at night, it'll wake you up. Even if it's indiscernible on a scan or to you overtly, it's enough to wake you up. How to support to get through the loss of a family member. I'm so sorry you lost someone. Oh, it's very hard. How do you get through that? I mean, prayer. I think connecting with the person who's passed on is quite helpful. If you can do that, if you feel called to do that. I think the trauma shock loss shot, the brain shot, is there for dealing with, it's in the Brain Saver book. It's really helpful for dealing with grief and loss. So I would do that, take it a day at a time, and don't let it take you down, right? The feelings are there, the emotions are there. Keep yourself moving forward. It is hard though. Remedy for a burning tongue pain. That's shingles often. So if you go back and listen, I talked about shingles protocols. It's the Core 7 plus curcumin, propolis, total immune blend, golden seal, ALA, cow poppy, all really help with that. Sweating so much at night, up from 3 a.m. until I get up in the morning. So removing toxic liver heat is by having extra celery juice at night before you go to bed. Bringing in more chaga, mullein, MSM, and schizandra berry all get rid of toxic liver heat. So that should help give you some relief. How can you tell if it's adrenals or toxins in the lymphatic system causing weight gain? The weight gain is caused by the liver being too full of fat and poison, so it cannot hold them in anymore, and it spills out into the bloodstream and into the lymphatic system. So then you put on weight. Also, fat weight is put on by the body absorbing fat or poisons into fat cells. So it's not like putting on more fat. The fat that you have in your body becomes swelled up with poison. And that's when you get that sickly, swollen kind of feeling. but also the toxic lymphatic system, also the lymphatic water, lymphatic fluid also is toxic, and that can also cause weight gain. But adrenals don't cause weight gain directly. It's because your liver's full. If you add more adrenaline to the mix, you can put on weight. But it's not just adrenals by themselves. Is it only possible to heal the liver by doing the 369? You can use many other protocols to support the liver, but the 369 is the best way. How do you heal blurry vision farther than 4 feet? It gets blurry, but not close up. I would do toxic heavy metal detox smoothie. This will be your savior for that. Been on MM for 8 years and my EGFR is 60 only. Gosh, that's really low. I'm sorry to hear that. I mean, I don't know what you're doing for kidney protocols, but you would need to do quite a few bit more to really support that. How can we reverse gray-white hair in my 20s? Adrenals, adrenals, adrenals. Sign up for the program, you guys. Like, so many of your questions are all about adrenals. Please sign up. That will make a difference. It will help you to understand your adrenals. Like, you want to become an expert on your health. Unfortunately, we have to. Unfortunately, we have to. That's the way out. So if you can, please sign up for this because it will help you learn a lot. How can someone heal from memory loss and ritual abuse? 369 cleanses are really great for that. They remove the old toxic adrenaline from those instances and they help to heal PTSD. So that combined with the PTSD protocols and the Medical Medium Revised and Expanded Blue Book with the lungs on the front cover, that's the one that I would use. And also, I would also bring in trauma shock loss shot, betrayal shots, guilt and shame shots, mood shifter shots. I would bring in negative energy exposure shots. I would bring in all of those things. That will make a big difference for you. Can you please talk about, are rice paper rolls made with tapioca flour okay made with salad only? Yeah, I think that those would be fine. Thank you, Edith. That's very sweet of you to say. She said, I'm sorry for what you had to go through. I'm sorry for what you're going through right now. Really, it's not easy. It's not easy dealing with when you're in it. I know the worst thing is when you're in it. Susie says, trauma shock loss shot helped me so much after losing my 2 brothers and my mother. I didn't realize that, Susie, that you lost so many people so quickly. I'm so sorry to hear that. Dawn Curry says, Mattress Island is terrifying. I literally memorized every shape and the texture of my ceiling, but using MM protocols, I live a full life now. I'm very active and so grateful. Dawn, I am so happy for you. That's incredible. Seaweed Hero says, yes, it's been a minute. I wanted to try the wild blueberry juice and lemon lime water recipe. I've done that. It is so good. It is so good. I've been doing it. I've been doing like all week. I've been drinking that. All right. Our next question is, can you please talk about mast cell activation syndrome? So all of you who have asked me about this question, please listen carefully, right? Mast cell activation syndrome is viral plus really toxic liver. Really, really, really toxic liver. Dirty blood and like lots of dehydration, high fat, thick blood. So that's why you react. That's why you have those reactions. The reactions are from the liver and they're neurological. So you have to approach it carefully. It can be healed. I've worked with a few people who've healed it, but you have to go slow. 369 cleanses are your best bet. How to lose cellulite and weight on MM protocols. 369 advanced with 789 repeats. Doing MM cleanses and subs for 5 years. How to heal gastritis the best way. Mono eating cleanse. Allo shock therapy, nerve gut acid stabilizer shots. That's the best way. Been struggling for a while and have lost my appetite now. What can I do? Keep doing adrenal support. Keep doing adrenal support, mono cleanses. Even if you're not hungry, eat. Your appetite will come back when your viral load comes down. Your viral load is high, so you do lose your appetite. Natalia says, part 1, how can I live in a state where my body, mind, and spirit feel truly well, energized, clear, peaceful, and aligned with my purpose? You have to clear PTSD. You have to clear the metals and poisons out of your body, keep your liver healthier, and all of that will come to you. Really, peace comes from cleaning up your liver. I remember when I first did the 369 cleanses, I was shocked because the amount of peace I felt when I did the cleanses was just remarkable. It's really, really amazing. Okay, so I'm dealing right now with my mom with dementia. She's 92 and extremely overwhelming and sad. Is there any way your mom can take B12 and do a little bit of heavy metal detox smoothie? It will help her so much. Sickle cell trait, that's tough. You got to bring in more heavy metal detox smoothie because part of the issue is lots of heavy metals. Tendonitis in the elbow, what causes that? Often shingles, or it could be EBV, depending on the type of tendonitis it is. But core 7, nettle leaf, aloe, all really important, no matter what, no matter which issue. Thank you for doing this live. I have depleted adrenals and now starting the 369 cleanse. Do I still graze while doing the cleanse? Absolutely. You graze on the foods from the cleanse, so then you're fine, right? I feel like the 369 cleanse is one big adrenal support. It's one of the most supportive things you could do. Christian Smith says, what would be the best for detoxing from wearing Invisaligners? The whole morning cleanse, 369 cleanses, those are the best ways, and the antiplastics tea. It's in the Medical Medium Revised and Expanded book. How can we improve children's cognitive functions? With all the brain support, celery, force, B12, adaptive B, 5-MTHF, EPA, DHA, wild blueberry juice, really great for kids. There we go. Wild blueberry juice. This is amazing for kiddos. Give it to them. It's really helpful. What do you think of doing EMDR for trauma or somatic therapy? I think somatic therapy is gentler. And so because it's gentler, it's supportive to the adrenals. That's what I support more. How to heal H. pylori in the gut and reflux, celery juice, celery juice, celery juice, so important. And then papaya, aloe, really important for getting rid of that. Golden seal, you need some herbs. You need golden seal, you need licorice root, you need oil of oregano, you need some mold exposure shots, which will also kill off these bugs. You need vitamin C, you need some zinc. So bring in some of those things. L Diamond says, it's my first time seeing you live. I woke up and you were at the top of my feed. Well, that's helpful to be at the top of the feed. I don't think I'm ever at the top of anyone's feed. So it's a real blessing that I was at the top of your feed. Thanks for being here and thanks for joining us. New Moon Sun 59, with fragile thinning hair on the crown with female and androgenic alopecia, is it okay to use a hairdryer? I mean, it does damage your hair more, so you have to be careful with that, so it can cause more breakage. Just use a very light setting. My 15-year-old has a white patch of gray hair on his hair too during morning cleanse. Best supports. You need adrenal supports, right? You need adrenal supports. You need to get licorice root and ashwagandha into him and the all of the adrenal healing snacks. Is it okay to start the morning with ginger, turmeric, lemon, and honey water? I would do ginger, lemon, honey water, not turmeric in the morning. I've been doing it without turmeric, but I wanted to add it now. I wouldn't add it right now. Add it another time in the day. Do it to your evening lemon water. Lovely Leafy Green says, I have another question. My gums have receded and a dark hard layer is formed. The dentist says there are minerals pushing out from the tooth root. Do you have any advice? Swish with celery juice. You can even brush with celery juice if you want to. And try using hydroxyapatite. triple mint enamelizer by Living Libations. Yeah, I hope that helps. Rangleen Kaur says, why do my muscles keep hurting? Have you been diagnosed with alopecia, with fibromyalgia? Let me know. If it is, that's an Epstein-Barr issue. I can't sleep. I wake up every hour, then I go to the toilet and have ME, CFS, and Hashimoto's. If you can't sleep, I would take more sleep support like GABA, melatonin, maglysonate, cow poppy, 5-HTP, lemon balm, and try to get more rest. These tools will help you sleep better. You need that sleep in order to keep healing. Hope Light Heal says, I had a beautiful session yesterday with Zarnaz, having a physical detox, lots of pain and swollen body. Any suggestions? So I would do cucumber juice. I would do cow poppy, curcumin, maglysonate. Those will all help you. You have to understand, like if you do any modality where you are running adrenaline a bit more, that's when you flare. So maybe save that for another time when you're a bit stronger and not do it at the moment because you're clearly not able to handle that level of adrenaline, right? I have some pain in my teeth. I've been on since 8. And by the way, you're saying that you're going through a physical detox. That's not a physical detox. You're going through a flare. I have some pain in my teeth. I have been on since 18th January. 2 to 3 back-to-back cleanses. Yeah, I'm sorry that you're struggling with all that. Hope it shifts for you soon. Jane Lal says, nurse said not to take a licorice root with high blood pressure. I agree. Monica says, I have H-Pylori in the gut and I cannot tolerate oregano and vitamin C. So bring in some golden seal, bring in lomatium, bring in oil. Can you handle oregano tea? Can you handle oregano juiced? If you can't handle oil of oregano, there's many different ways to bring in oregano. You can't handle the mold shot. Okay, so then try the tea. Try the tea. To color gray hairs, henna, or I've already answered that question, so go back and listen. In relation to my sensitivity in my teeth, I've been mostly raw, but I do steamed potatoes and soups. Sensitivity in the teeth means your gums have become sensitive and your nerves have become sensitive. So you need to do nerve support, right? Aloe, B12, celery force, Adapto B, 5-MTHF, EPA DHA, Cal Poppy. They all help with that. What I just told you, L Diamond, everything that I just told you. Is my ring an Aura ring? Yes, it's an Aura ring. It's my ring is an old ring, so it's made of a metal. I had an oregano tea and it saved my food poisoning. Yep, it makes a really, really, really big difference. All right, guys, I think I answered all the questions that have been posted so far. I hope everyone takes care. We've been live for almost 2 hours. Thanks for hanging out with me. If you're at least worried about the least bit worried about your adrenals, please sign up for the Adrenal Reset program, or at the very least, ask me a question about it. Email the office, team@muneezahmed.com, or DM me, private message me on Facebook or Instagram. Yeah. I did answer the Kaylin Natera. I answered the Chiari question. Definitely go back and listen. I love my Aura ring. Thank you all for hanging out with me. It was a great live. It was so good to come on and be relaxed because sometimes I'm on here and then I have like a million things to do in the week. Today's a Saturday, so I'm kind of relaxed. I'm not seeing clients today, so it makes it easier. I do have to go cook dinner now, but it was really nice to hang out with all of you. I'm sending you all big, 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 big hugs. Take care of yourselves, and I'll talk to you again very soon. Catch me tomorrow. I'll be live tomorrow at 10 a.m. So I'm making up for lost time, y'all. I haven't been live in like 4 or 5 months. So I'm making up for lost time. Come hang out with me tomorrow morning.